Your cat is watching you right now. Maybe from across the room, maybe just inches away while you're trying to fall asleep. It studies you with an expression that's almost impossible to read. Not hostile, not exactly affectionate, just watchful, evaluating. The question scientists spent decades trying to answer is one of the strangest in all of animal behavior research. What does your cat actually think you are? The answer turns out to be both simpler and stranger than you'd expect, and it reveals something about the nature of intelligence, social bonds, and the sheer oddness of living so closely with an animal that was never really designed to do that. Start with what cats think about other cats. When cats interact with other cats they know well, they use a specific set of behaviors. They bump heads, rub against each other, groom one another with their tongues. They do slow blinks that work as a kind of feline social signal of comfort and trust. These behaviors are reserved for animals they consider part of their social group. They don't usually use them with strangers, and they don't use them with prey. They use them with their own kind. Now think about what cats do with humans they feel comfortable around. They headbutt us, rub against our legs, occasionally groom us by licking our hands or hair. They slow blink at us. Behaviorally, they treat us almost identically to how they treat other cats they trust. The scientific interpretation of this is surprisingly straightforward. Cats appear to categorize familiar humans as large, strange, not particularly competent cats, not as a separate species that deserves entirely different treatment, not as predators or prey, but as cats. Odd, clumsy, largely useless cats who are inexplicably enormous and can't groom themselves properly, but cats nonetheless. This wasn't always obvious. For a long time, scientists assumed cats understood humans as a fundamentally different kind of being. Dogs clearly do. They evolved over thousands of years to read human faces, understand pointing gestures, and track human gaze in ways no other animal does naturally. Dogs know they're with humans. Cats didn't seem to make the distinction, or if they did, they decided it didn't matter much. There's a famous experiment that illustrates this perfectly. Researchers put cats in a stressful situation and observed how they reacted when their owner was present compared to when a stranger was present. Dogs, in this kind of setup, show a clear, secure base effect. They calm down near their owners, seek contact when stressed, and use their owner as a reference point for how to feel about the situation. Cats showed exactly the same effect with their owners. They calmed down, explored more, and returned to their owner when uncertain. With strangers, none of that happened. The attachment was real. It was just hidden under an enormous amount of apparent indifference, which brings up the most interesting part of this story. Cats know their own names. Multiple studies have confirmed this. If you played a recording of a stranger saying random words followed by the cat's name, its ear will twitch, its tail will move, and some cats will even turn their head. They know their name is being said, and in most cases, they choose not to respond. That's not ignorance. It's a decision. Your cat hears you call it and thinks something like, "Yes, I'm aware of that. I'll deal with it when I feel like it." Cats also understand that humans are watching them. Research has shown something revealing. Cats are more likely to approach forbidden objects when humans aren't looking at them than when they are. They know the difference between an attentive human and a distracted one. They monitor your attention, then calibrate their behavior based on whether they think they can get away with something. That's actually sophisticated social cognition. Understanding that another being can see you and is monitoring your behavior isn't something every animal can do. Dogs do it, primates do it, and apparently cats do it too. They just use that understanding a little differently. Dogs use it to seek approval. Cats use it to identify windows of opportunity. Now consider how cats communicate with humans compared to how they communicate with each other. Adult cats almost never meow at each other. Meowing is primarily a kitten behavior used to get attention from their mothers. Adult cats living together use body language, scent marking, and a repertoire of chirps, trills, and silent gestures. But cats meow constantly at humans. Researchers believe this happens because cats discovered, through trial and error, that meowing works on humans in a way it doesn't work on other adult cats. Meowing is a behavior cats essentially developed or preserved specifically to communicate with us. It's a vocal interface designed for the human brain. Different cats develop different meows for different purposes, and studies have shown that humans can reliably identify what their own cat's meows mean, even just from audio, with no visual cues. Your cat has a language. It taught it to you, and you learned it without ever realizing you were doing so. What does a cat think when it brings you a dead mouse? The most common interpretation is that cats are teaching us to hunt, treating us like kittens who haven't learned the skill yet. This is disputed. Some researchers think cats are simply bringing prey home to a safe location, and home just happens to be where you are. Others think it's a form of gift-giving behavior, an extension of the resource sharing that happens between bonded cats. What nearly all researchers agree on is that the cat isn't doing this out of cruelty. The headbutt, known scientifically as bunting, deserves specific attention. When a cat presses its forehead or the side of its face against you, it's depositing scent from glands around its face. It's marking you. Not aggressively, but affectionately. In a cat's internal social accounting, you are a resource worth marking. You belong to the cat's scent group. You're part of its territory in the most positive sense of the word. When your cat headbutts you, it's saying something like, "You're mine, and I'm not ashamed of that." This is one of the clearest signs of genuine social bonding a cat can give. The slow blink is equally revealing. In feline body language, staring is threatening. An unbroken gaze is a dominant signal. A slow blink, where a cat looks at you and then closes and opens its eyes gradually, is the deliberate abandonment of that threatening stare. It's a signal of comfort, not aggression. When your cat does this, it's essentially saying, "I'm comfortable enough with you that I'm willing to stop watching you for a moment." Studies show that humans can return the slow blink and get a positive response back. The kneading behavior that adult cats continue doing on soft surfaces, often paired with purring, is another window into how cats experience their relationships with humans. Kneading is a kitten behavior used to stimulate milk flow from the mother. Adult cats who feel deeply comfortable and content sometimes revert to it. When your cat does this on you, it's accessing an old comfort response and attaching it to your presence. You've become associated with the deepest sense of safety a cat knows, the bond between mother and kitten. Purring itself is more complex than most people realize. Cats don't only purr when they're happy, they also purr when injured, while giving birth, when stressed, and even when dying. Purring seems to function as a self-soothing mechanism as well as a social signal. When a cat purrs at you, it's probably communicating that it's comfortable in the interaction, but it may also be calming itself down. So, what does your cat think you are? The most accurate scientific answer is this. Your cat almost certainly doesn't have a category called human that it applies to you. It has a category called part of my social group, and it put you in it. You're filed alongside the other beings it trusts, marks, grooms, communicates with, and returns to. You're not a human in your cat's inner world. You're a very large, very poorly groomed, deeply incompetent hunting partner who somehow manages to produce food with remarkable reliability. You are also, in the deepest sense, a cat is capable of expressing family. Tonight, your cat will choose where to sleep. It might pick your bed or a cardboard box across the room. But if it has placed you in its social group, there's a real chance it will orient its body toward you, even without touching you, keeping you in its field of awareness even while asleep. Because in a cat's internal accounting, you're part of the group it monitors, the group it protects in its own small, proud, largely useless way. The group it chose, for reasons it could never explain and you'll never fully understand, to stay with. And that, coming from a creature that was never designed to stay anywhere with anyone, is everything. If your cat does any of this to you, tell me which one in the comments. I want to know if you've got a head butter, a slow blinker, or a bread kneader.